Your whole life, you've been told by people you look up to, be a sponge. They were wrong. Look, I don't think that they had bad intentions, but let's be real. That world's changed. They didn't grow up with thousands of voices screaming beliefs and ideas at them with just a scroll. I'm going to say the subjective thing here, but life was a bit simpler back then in terms of the social platforms. But I'm not here to put the blame on those platforms. What I'm here to do is help you take back control of your focus. Because typically, where being a sponge actually fails is it assumes that everyone is telling you the objective truth. It makes you believe that your path is their path and that their goals are the same as yours. Let's be real, that's almost never the case. If we're going to be honest with ourselves here, most of the time when we're drawn to someone that we don't know, rather, it's simply because they have something that we want: the fame, the car, the glasses, the clothes, whatever. And we assume that to get that, we have to copy them. That's wrong. See, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story of how I figured this out by myself, rather, how it was brought to my attention about myself, and how it literally almost drove me off a cliff. I used to hear this phrase over and over again that people used to tell me, "You're doing so well for your age." And it used to bother me because I honestly didn't believe it. I couldn't accept that I was ahead of my curve, quote unquote. Like, there's no way. But the kicker is, if I didn't believe it, then I thought I was behind. And when you think you're behind, you operate out of anxiety. You chase the next thing, you are looking for the next big idea, every opportunity, you're just always thinking that you need to catch up. Why was I doing that? Who was I listening to, most importantly? I'll tell you. It was the young gurus online telling me that if I didn't have a Lambo at 18, that I wasn't doing enough. That if I wasn't making seven figures a month, it was already too late and I should already give up. See, switching from a sponge mindset to one of discernment, that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned so far, hands down. Because what it gives you is the ability to choose the beliefs you take from others. You'd never want to let anybody take that power away from you. The truth is, they didn't project their ideas on me in hopes of harming me, but simply they were trying to push urgency to get me to do something that they believe was the best thing for me. They're selling me on their ideas essentially. But what I didn't realize is I was already taking action on my own ideas. I was already working on them or on the path of growth, essentially. But I still let their urgency push me to the edge of chaos. What I'm trying to say here is discernment is the key. It's the key to clarity, to focus, and to aligned action. See, without it, you're letting other people dictate your growth. So, how do you build a mind capable of discernment? And the first thing I'm about to say is, I probably said this 1,000 times, but you have to find an aim. Like, you have to know where you're going before you can know who to listen to. If you don't do that, you literally will have no structure in life. So when it comes to getting an aim, it's not necessarily an aim on what you want out of life. It's rather who you want to be at the end of your life. That's a frame in which you can use to test and pretty much figure that out. Because what happens when you do that is you have the ability to find mentors based on character, not what they have. From there, you pretty much audit everybody's advice. Does it align with my goals? Does this really help me reach my potential in the way in which I want to? But most importantly, does this get me to one step closer to being the person I want to be? The next step is listening to one source at a time. Like, before you can move on to something new, you have to be able to take action and test and see what works. The worst thing you can do is bounce from idea to idea and never learn what works. The last thing is learn how to say no. No to content, to books, to opportunities or advice that doesn't align with your direction. Key thing, doesn't. I'm not saying that these things are bad. I'm saying it's bad when you do them without purpose. Your no is way more powerful than your yes. So use it wisely. You don't want to be dependent on external validation. So what happens when we do this is when you start filtering rather, you notice something incredible. And that incredible thing is clarity. You don't waste energy on ideas or things that don't matter. You only focus on things that move the needle forward. See, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help you build a life of direction. I'm trying to give you the ability to essentially cut through the noise and not have your life dictated based on how other people perceive it's supposed to be lived. Because honestly, that's painful, but more importantly than painful, that is death. If you have no choice, if you have no power, you are not alive. And your focus is one of the single things that people will use against you to take control of your decisions and where you're heading in life. Attention is the most seeked after thing in today's economy, essentially. It's all about attention. So you being able to prioritize yours is extremely important if you ever want to achieve big things. So before I go, I have one question. Are you ready to take charge of the lessons and beliefs you internalize? Because the power is yours.